This is just a refresher course on how the new client intakes are being processed. I'm going to go through an example here to show you what's happening. So right now, these are all the contacts for today. I'm going to click on Jill Schmidt. As you can tell, right here it shows that her health form is received. So when I click on her contact, you can see down here that the health form is marked yes, and all the information down here, have you been to OTF? How did you hear about us? All that stuff is filled in from when she fills out the client intake form. It all goes right into here. So in addition to it filling that, each night the coaches are going to get an email of what their intros are for tomorrow. So for this one, this is Coach Marissa. She's going to get an email tomorrow night that Jill Schmidt's her intro at 10:15, and it's going to have all the health information. So they'll be able to review that the night before, or they'll have it on their phone for the day of. So they'll have all of that information. So we've got all this set up, and once the information comes in to Zoho after the person submits their form, it's going to automatically set up an activity to set up an OT beat. So if we don't have that task on a task list to set up OT beat for somebody, it means we didn't get their client intake. So we're going to go to the activities right now, and I'm going to look up the OT beat setup list, which is right here. This happens to already be on that view, but if it weren't on that view, you'd have to click on the down arrow, just type in OT beat, and then go to the OT beat setup, and it will bring up a list of all the people who we have to set up heart rate monitors for. So it includes their weight, their birth date, and their email. So that's all we need to know. We could set it right up from here, and when we're done with that, we're going to click on the edit button, and we're going to just mark it completed. So we're going to go to the status and mark it completed. I'm not going to do it now because we didn't do it yet. And the other way to mark it completed is right here. We're going in to edit the task. This, we're actually going to view the task and all the things that are related to it. So if I click on this, not only is it going to give the same task information, which is to set up the OT beat with the information, it's also going to give who the owner is, if there's any notes attached to it. So it just gives a lot more information, which we don't really need. So you can click on that portion. It will take you to this screen, and then you can click on edit, which will take you to the same screen we were on before. Or you can just go down to the status here, click on the pen, and change it to completed once it's done. So you can update it either way. It's probably a little bit easier just to click on the edit button and mark it that way. So this should simplify the whole task of receiving in the client intakes and setting up the OT beat. And in addition to that, what we're going to do is we're going to just on the iPad, we're going to keep that at the front desk, and when someone needs to fill out a client intake, they're just going to fill it out on the iPad. So it's going to send all the information right in, and it's going to set up the OT beat task right here. So we'll almost immediately just show up on the list, so we'll have all the information we need. And you can also just ask them, while they're standing right in front of you to get the information you need to set it up. But this way we know all the information is correct. And also what it does is when someone fills out a form online, if we have already entered it in, it matches up on the email. So if the email is wrong, it's going to enter in a new contact in Zoho. If the email is the same as one we have, it's going to take all the data from the client intake form they're filling out, and it's going to replace what we have in Zoho. So if we had a name spelled wrong, it's going to fix it and replace the name spelled correctly because they're filling it out themselves. So that should be helpful in alleviating some typos that we have. But it's also really important that we're careful with the emails because those email fields mean everything. So just as a recap, the client intake forms are going out. They're going to get filled out. It's going to automatically submit into Zoho. Zoho is going to automatically set up a task. It's going to mark that the health form is completed, so you'll be able to tell who we have them for, who we don't, and it should simplify the process a lot. Any questions, just flip me back and keep burning.